And let's just spell it out for you. Echoplex. They put me in a fucking magazine.
Everybody, welcome to Downballot. We do this show most Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. You can support this project by going to echoplexmedia.com. Click the support link at the top of the page there, and it'll give you many ways. Best way, I think, merch. You can buy a tinfoil hat like this, and not a hat like the councilman's because that shit's outdated and kind of whack. Anyway, I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Grindr.
And this is the aforementioned councilman. You can find me right here every Tuesday night. You can also find me at public comment at city council, making the mayor feel all icky inside because I just keep talking shit. But no, this hat is absolutely on point. Haven't you heard Kamala for governor? So I'm holding out hope, and it'll be new again. It's just like it's like pegging your pants or showing off your midriff if you're a Taylor Swift fan. It all comes back around. So. Don't worry. I'm fashion forward.
Man, we do not want any beef from the Swifties. He was talking nice about you, Swifties. We do not need you coming for us. We do not
I
need
was.
you
No,
coming for us.
she's trendsetter. That's all it is. I respect game. I have to respect one of the billionaire women in our world.
Self-made, unlike other people too. She fucking earned that shit like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah, and supports her crew. I gotta respect that, right? No matter what you think of your music, she supports her crew and the team that makes it happen. So you gotta respect that.
Yep. So we got the docket exceeds a page today, so I guess we should probably get going on the fucking news, huh?
That's what happens when we take a week off, as we always know. There's just so much derp happening. It seems like when we were on every week, it's like kind of hard to find, that real good derp. And somehow every time we take a week off, we just have way too much. So yeah, let's just jump right into it, if that's okay.
Yeah, what do we got for leading off?
Leading off this week, well, it's deja vu all over again. Down ballot denizens will recall the tight race for Congressional District 16 last year between in the primary, at least, for second place between Joe Smitty and Evan Lowe. Ended up in a tie, if you recall, and they had to go to a recount that Evan Lowe ended up winning by 5 votes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's happening all again in the District 3 race that we've been covering to replace disgraced Councilmember Omar Torres, who, by the way, pleaded no contest on the day of the election. Just looking for media attention, apparently, his attorneys. Turns out we're going to be looking at quite the same situation for the next couple weeks, and we're going to hear about it from our good friends at ABC7.
Election results are still being tallied in a critical race in San Jose. The District 3 City Council special election comes after the previous council member resigned in disgrace. Gabby Chavez Lopez, as you can see there, is in the lead, but Anthony Tordios is now 1 vote ahead of Matthew Quevedo for second place. ABC7 News South Bay reporter Zach Fuentes has more from the top candidates.
Featuring downtown San Jose State University, and City Hall, San Jose's District 3 is one of the most high-profile in the city. On Tuesday night, polls closed in the special election to determine who of 7 candidates will be the district's new council member.
There are 7 candidates total. There are 3 who are really kind of in the front-runner category.
The special election happened after previous District 3 City Council member Omar Torres resigned in November following child molestation charges. He later pled no contest to those charges the same day of the special election. Experts say the scandal and fallout may have led District 3 voters to take an even closer look at the candidates on the ballot.
I think they are definitely looking for someone who has, a strong moral code and values.
The earliest
You don't
results of the
say.
Tuesday special election showed nonprofit executive Gabby Chavez Lopez in the lead, a position she held into Wednesday after the Santa Clara County Registrar released another batch of results. She and her team celebrating that early lead at a Tuesday night election watch party.
It is too early to call anything, but this lead it's incredibly encouraging.
To win the special election, a candidate has to win more than 50% of the vote. If none of the 7 candidates reach that percentage, then the top 2 go to a June runoff race. The Tuesday night results initially saw Matthew Quevedo, Deputy Chief of Staff for San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan, in second place.
We're glad with the results. We're going to keep watching, but we're feeling really good.
But come Wednesday, he was in third place. Taking over second place by just 1 vote was Anthony Tordios, chair of the San Jose Planning Commission. In a statement Wednesday, he said in part, "Despite being outspent 5-1 by special interests, I'm glad our substantive message resonated with District 3 voters. We must make sure every vote is counted." The Santa Clara County Registrar Voters Office said it's going to be processing vote-by-mail ballots by April 15th if they are postmarked by Election Day. They said a runoff election could cost between $2 to $3 million. In San Jose, Zach Fuentes, ABC7 News.
So homeboy that's Matt Mahan's employee or whatever looked like his name would be like Jedediah and he'd be piloting a fucking covered wagon. Did you see that, dude?
I'm so sorry, but knowing him very well, you pretty much pegged it right on the head there. Very much
there
so.
were Pennsylvania Dutch in San Jose.
And this is actually the most personable he does look. Frankly, he's actually known affectionately around City Hall as Scarf Boy. He wears a scarf as sort of like his I don't know, fashion forward statement of his own. Even in 90-degree weather, he used to wear a scarf everywhere he went. I have no idea where it sprung from, but it was kind of like his signature piece of clothing.
Is it the same scarf?
Yeah, he wouldn't like do a fancy, holiday themed scarf, right? Not a green scarf for St. Patty's Day or red and green for
that's
for
some Tim
Christmas.
Pool shit, right? That's some Tim Pool shit. Tim Pool be wearing a beanie in the 105 degree 90% humidity days out there in fucking West Virginia too. Man, what the fuck? What's going on, man?
I think he's so well known for it now, and it's almost like a point of pride. Like people derided him for it. Now he just sort of wears it around to spite them all. But actually, so for the campaign, he dropped the scarf, picked up a suit. I don't think I've ever seen the guy in a suit either before, but definitely didn't lose the neck beard. So unfortunately, you like to think that looks don't matter in elections, but looks do matter, especially when you look at the top two candidates and you've got these two nice, young, attractive people, who are
and that lady's yellow outfit, all the yellow, it was the camera's fault, right? The camera just couldn't handle it wasn't good for like whatever kind of camera they were using or whatever. But her jacket was fly, dude. Fly as fuck.
She's got great fashion sense, Gabby, and she's rocking the hyper yellow, pink, and light blue theme for her campaign. So that was completely on brand. But yeah, we're looking at pretty much a very similar scenario here with the second and third place candidates separated by a fraction of a percent of the vote. And I'm actually looking right now at the results out of 47,000 potential voters in this race, 9,100 cast a ballot. So that's 19.
I was going to say that those numbers, even though it was just one district of San Jose, I'm like, is there a decimal place missing there or something?
Yeah, absolutely. So the decimal place is 19.24%. That's the turnout so far. And they've counted almost all the ballots. So we're probably going to get to right around 20%, which was widely predicted to be around the number you'd see. It's a special election. It's an April election. It's an election where some pundits said, well, because of all the attention on Omar Torres and his resignation, there would be more people engaged in this race because they're very concerned about the future of their district. But it's just proving that special elections are special elections for a reason. And people are a little bit tuned out. They're a little bit tired. There's a little bit of voter fatigue out there, I'm sure. And there was so much special interest money dumped into this race to the tune of like $500,000 for at least one candidate and another $300,000 for another candidate, that they were probably just swamped and just didn't know what to make of it. So you had a lot of folks not turning out, but that leads to quirky results. And as of right now, Anthony Torrijos is up by now 5 whopping votes. So 2005 to 2000 is the second and third place count right now. And as soon as they certify this vote, it's going to go to a runoff or a recount, because in Santa Clara County, unlike in the congressional race, which spanned 2 counties, in Santa Clara County, there is an automatic recount under a certain percentage, and it's going to fall well within that range. I think they're separated right now by 0.06%. So it's anybody's game for second place, but Gabby is obviously far and away the winner. She had the most special interest backing, but she also did a lot of hustling herself, getting out and knocking on doors. She had a great campaign infrastructure, and she's also been probably the most connected to the community and from her work in the nonprofit sector and her work in community development of all the candidates, and it's proving so in these results. But we're also seeing what could be perhaps a repudiation, if you want a nice big word, or a rejection of Mayor Ed 209's policies, because as was noted, Matthew Quevedo is Matthew Mahan's chief of staff. So the two Matts were running pretty much hand in hand. Mahan's picture, name, endorsement, seal of approval were all over this guy. And yet he finishes potentially in third place and well behind the Labor-backed and Progressive and Democratic Party-backed candidate, although I will point out that Anthony also had backing from the Democratic Party. And Anthony Torrijos is kind of the dark horse candidate here, although he was well-financed and had some money of his own to put into the campaign, but he did not have, as he noted, any special interest money at all behind him. So no IE mailers, no support. He was really doing this on his own and had never run a campaign before, but put together a good team and it looks like, it could benefit him really well. Could get him into the runoff.
Well, that's fantastic. I feel like those 5 votes, the dude fucking fucked up the scarf vote, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's at least 5 people out there who love that scarf game and want to see some more of that. So maybe it was the lucky scarf. Who knows? But you typically, I would not say that a special election says anything about anything, right? We've seen in the national races, right, in the wake of Trump, this Democrat won this special election in Minnesota, therefore, people are turning back on Trump. That's not necessarily true, right? But in this case, with so much attention on it, with such, it's really become a proxy war for the mayor's agenda versus the rest of the progressive community or the actual progressive community's agenda. And that was such a key point in this race. And Quevedo made a point of saying, I will be the mayor's majority vote on the council for all of his proposals. He laid down that line in the sand. That was what the hill he wanted to die on in this race, and he may actually die on it. And I think that actually could say something about the mayor's agenda, because these are the voters. These 9,100 people are the most engaged people in San Jose right now. They are the most attuned to what's going on, and they are saying, we don't want that. We want this, or we want something else. We want the non-establishment candidate, and we want to go a different way. And we're starting to see it also in public comment and next door, as predicted. Since Mayor Ed 209 can't single-handedly solve all the crises that we're facing, the voters are starting to notice that, and it could be we're seeing the swing back again quicker than we expected. But it's still anyone's game, and we'll see what happens as the recount moves forward. But we will keep you posted here on Down Ballot.
So presumptive 1 and 2 are basically from what we would, I guess, call like our wing. I'm not a San Josean anymore, but they would be palatable and acceptable and whatever to like our wing, like more like labor, progressive, like people who are more interested in trying to help folks who are down in their luck than punitive punitive reactions to homelessness, stuff like that. More on our wing. Do you expect assuming that nothing weird happens and the second and third don't flip, do you expect the campaign between those two to be pretty amicable, or do you think it's going to get nasty?
That's an interesting question. I think amicable between them personally. I think amicable in terms of the public, what goes out publicly in terms of mail and campaign rhetoric. Although, but I do think there will be frankly a bloodbath internally within our camp, as it were, as people jockey behind each of their given candidates. And in that scenario, the more conservative element, your Chamber of Commerce kind of element, business leaders element, is kind of left out in the cold here and without a candidate. But Anthony would probably profile more as their candidate. And if it becomes,
is it just because he's a white guy? Or I know he has a last name, but like my last long-term boyfriend was from El Salvador and he was whiter than I was, right? Like,
yeah, he profiles very white. He is also Filipino. I believe he's Mexipino, I want to say, but I forget what his exact background is. But yeah, he definitely profiles as a nice white dude, if you look at it that way. But he's probably, if the business and the conservative community want a candidate in that scenario, they would probably choose Anthony. How much they do for him, how much they control the rhetoric, yet to be seen. So it could get fairly nasty, and these races have gotten fairly nasty, but it'd probably be more the independent groups than the actual candidates going at each other. But it's, campaigns are what they are, and I know from being a candidate that you get candidate brain at some point, as we call it, and the emotions and the pressures take over, and they make you do things and become someone you really don't want to be momentarily while you're running. So we'll see what happens. But big question here is actually,
why did you try to like put that spike strip in front of your opponent's car during your campaign? What the fuck, man?
Because they talk shit about my dog, No, but the real question here is actually going to be the fourth place candidate, Irene Smith. So Down Ballot listeners and viewers will recall that Irene was the runner-up to Omar Torres in the race 2 years ago for this seat, and came in with a very hefty 16% of the vote here without a lot of money. She didn't have a lot of money, didn't have a lot of backing. Those are her voters. Those are people who love her. They're on with her agenda. They're down with her agenda, and they are loyal to her. I don't know that they would naturally go to, quote unquote, any other candidate. So it's going to be really incumbent, especially on Gabby as the female in this race. They had a little female bonding moment towards the end when there was some nasty mailers sent out about Gabby, to really court Irene and court her supporters, because that's going to be a substantial contingent that may sit out if they don't have a compelling candidate. And it could put whoever gets them over the top. And they might be more aligned conservatively, but I think Gabby has an opportunity here to pick up a bit of that vote and give herself an advantage in a runoff with either of these candidates. At this point, she just has to game plan for both of them and see what happens. But the number one thing she should be doing is sitting down with Irene Smith. So we'll see how this develops. But it's very curious as far as what this means more globally for San Jose. I think yet to be seen.
Yeah, and I want to anybody who's maybe not from San Jose or something, when we talk about more conservative elements, we're not talking about Republicans, right?
Correct.
We're not general. I mean, there may be some Republicans who voted for this Irene, I think you said her name was. There may have been, but we're talking, I guess, shit libs. We'll call them like Bay Area, like the middle of the ground. I don't even know how to describe it. They're not leftists, is what I'm saying. They're kind of good government, maybe a lot of small business owners, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it like the Mayor Ed 209, Mayor Ed 210, right? That ilk. A lot of tech people, maybe. Yeah, very much so. The pro recall all the DAs people, right? They align with that kind of element. The Prop 36 reformer things like that. You don't see any. I don't think there are any Republicans on the San Jose City Council at all. There are a couple of declined to staters, I think, but mostly it's just shades of blue here, because it's such a Democratic bastion, and even someone like a Mayor Ed 209, who frankly, might profile Republicans somewhere else, chooses to be a Democrat, chooses to be in that space here because it's just more politically expedient, and Republicans just don't make enough chunk of the vote to be worthwhile in terms of dropping your whole, putting all your eggs in that basket. So that's what we're talking about when we say conservative elements in San Jose and the Bay Area.
The people that would get upset if another nightclub opened in downtown San Jose, even though they don't live in downtown San Jose.
Correct, or having to step over an unhoused person to get to that nightclub. That definitely pisses them off. So, if you want to
go to the wine bar next to the nightclub,
right? If you think that we should be arresting people for living on the streets, that's the team you should be on. If you think we should be helping them off the streets, that's the team that Gabby and Anthony, for the most part, are on. So. Okay, well, now we're going to move to my home of. Now we're like 5 months now that I've lived here in the town. We're going to move to Oakland. I will cop it. I didn't get my registration and stuff in time, and I didn't go same day vote on a provisional ballot. Well, I mean, you didn't get to vote on the recall either, so I guess it's just you want to be consistent.
Well, I mean, it was lazy, but I did register online, and I'll have paperwork sent to me whenever they get fucking around to it. But I have a feeling this is going to be a bloodbath. I have a feeling it's not going to matter. This is going to be a fucking bloodbath, right? This Oakland recall election.
We shall see. It's ranked choice voting, so anything's possible, but we're going to find out more from our good friends at KTVU.
Polls just opened on this election day in Oakland that'll result in a new mayor to lead an office that's been through a number of major changes in just the past months. KTV's James Torres live in Oakland, where voters are now having their say, James.
Well, Garcia, your ballot will tell you there are 9 candidates running to lead the town, but the race is seemingly coming down to the 2 front runners.
I like how even the news, they just call it the town.
The town, yeah.
Like even the news, they're like, listen, we got to connect with these people somehow.
Congresswoman Barbara Lee. Now, the Oakland, of course, we know, has not had a permanent mayor since last November. That's when voters elected to recall former Mayor Shang Tao after a number of issues during her political campaign. She won the mayoral race back in 2022. At the time, Council President Nikki Fortunato Bass took over as interim mayor for just a few weeks. She then moved on to serve as county supervisor. New City Council President Kevin Jenkins is now serving as the interim mayor. And early voting has been underway, but tonight will be the last chance for Oaklanders to weigh in on the race, where both candidates, Taylor and Lee, are getting great support.
And it's important that people understand that Oakland is at a crossroads now. And this is a really defining moment for Oakland, whether we're going to go forwards or backwards.
This is a critical time for Oakland. We've got to turn this city around. Oaklanders are fed up. They're frustrated with not being served, paying significant taxes, and not getting the resources.
Also up for grabs this election, seats on the city council for District 2. Here's a list of all of those candidates running, a total of 6. According to Alameda County...
This isn't a list, those are pictures of them.
More than 250,000 ballots have been sent to registered voters. So far, about 19% have been returned. If you're in Oakland, you'll also have the option to vote on Measure A. That offers a 0.5% sales tax increase. It's proposed to generate at least $30 million a year and a way to help the town's budget woes. Polls tonight will close at 8 o'clock. We're live this morning in Oakland. I'm James Torres, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
James, thank you.
So what the fuck happens here with ranked choice when there's really only 2 candidates? I think most people are going to pick one of them as the first choice and the other one is the second choice.
There are, I mean, like the report said, there are, I think, 9 candidates running, although we generally hear the most about Lauren Taylor and Barbara Lee because they are the most well-heeled and most prolific and prominent candidates. But there are 9 candidates, so there is an opportunity to rank up to however many, I think 5, I forget how, or 3, I forget how many they let you rank. So it will be very interesting to see what comes out. I mean, the ranked choice voting is what led to Sheng Tao winning the election in the first place. She was not the top vote getter on the first ballot, on first place votes. She won it through the ranked choice process. And we've seen the results of that, although there were some mitigating circumstances. I don't blame ranked choice voting for the recall by any means or for her failings. So we'll see what happens, although Barbara Lee comes into this very, very strong, and it's going to take an awful lot by Taylor to upend her momentum. But again, he's the kind of guy that could appeal to a lot of folks down ballot, and maybe even some Barbara Lee supporters thinking he's their second choice. And, it's anyone's game. But if she could win an overwhelming majority of the first place votes, and that would put it pretty far out of reach for him.
Yeah, I just saw that, like, I don't think he sort of seems to think, and I could be wrong here, but I think he thinks he's going to try to ride the wave of Mahan and Lori, try to get that, because he was talking a lot about that make the government more efficient bullshit. Like, oh yeah, and that's when I was like, oh, I don't like him. Yeah. So but I don't think that's going to play here. I think it plays in San Francisco in some ways because there's a lot more tech money there. Yep. And it plays in San Jose because San Jose is a giant fucking suburb.
Right. Well, we did cover it a bit when was a couple weeks ago when Mayor Ed 209, Mayor Mahan endorsed Lauren Taylor and actually came
around the corner from my
around the corner.
I'll say around the way, not literally around the corner, around the way from where I live. Not surprising again that they went to the Laurel. Yeah,
he came to the town, and I'm guessing he did not take BART. And they went to
well, no, because then he would have had to take a bus.
Correct, right? So it's a very nice neighborhood, pretty Dave neighborhood. But it seems as though he's throwing his weight in with that, and it's not a bad play. There is definitely there's a reason why Mayor Ed 209 is the mayor of San Jose. There's a reason why Mayor Ed 210 is the mayor of San Francisco. There is a substantial chunk of the vote of the electorate that buys into their rhetoric and their narrative. So he's not wrong to side. He needs a lane, and it's not a bad lane to be in. And Barbara Lee is in the other lane, so this is really the only opportunity available to him if he wants to win. Who knows if he does win, how he tempers his policies and positions after that. Sometimes you just do what you got to do to win, and then you figure it out later. But it seems as though you're right that he is throwing himself in with that.
All right. Well, we got more. This is about the interim Oakland mayor. Apparently, a lot of the all of the former mayor's staff has been shit canned.
Pretty much. And one person in particular potentially with cause, but it's just mostly a cleaning house in advance of this election. And we're going to learn more about that from our our good friends on the local news.
Oakland's interim mayor, Kevin Jenkins, announcing this morning that nearly every member of the mayor's office staff is out. They are officially going to be let go on Friday, but they'll all be on paid leave until then. Jenkins says the members left in the mayor's office include himself and 2 deputy mayors, Lenise Jones and Bert Jones, who will now also serve as his chief of staff. The fired staffers are holdovers from the staff of former Mayor Sheng Tao, who was, of course, recalled in November. This comes one day after we learned that Tao's former chief of staff, Lee Hansen, was let go over the weekend. Hansen had also been chief of staff for Jenkins. This all stems from meeting notes that were among the hundreds of pages worth of documents related to that FBI investigation into Tao. One note seemed to refer to Black people as tokens, sparking outrage from local activists who demanded Hansen's removal. We reached out to Hansen. She told us that that note reflected comments from a group discussion with Tao that were taken out of context. Specifically, Hansen says they were discussing the recall efforts, donors' use of African-American political operatives.
Nah, friendo, when you're white, and especially when you look like that, you just find another way to say that. I'm sorry.
Yes.
You just find another way to say that.
That would be good.
Just find another, like if Willie Brown comes out to endorse your opponent, don't be like, Willie Brown's out there shucking and jiving, trying to get the opponent elected. Like, don't do that. Like, don't do these things.
At the very least, don't put it in a note. Like, don't write it down. These are the meetings you don't take notes in, folks. Like, I'm sorry. I've done enough campaign work to know. Just don't take notes. Like, you can say all you want, but if you put it in writing, it's going to get out there. It's going to get out there. And this was a public records issue, an FBI investigation. She probably couldn't have predicted it. And I would even be willing to give, if she didn't look like that, the benefit of the doubt and say, well, she was talking about the recall proponents using Black people as quote unquote tokens, right? As props, because that's exactly what they did. But it's absolutely inappropriate to be writing it down and be talking about it in this context. But, that's why she no longer has a job.
Monica Scott as a paid spokesperson, which they believed made that tokenization. The Oakland NAACP held a press conference today thanking the interim mayor for firing Hansen and those other staffers.
We urge Mayor Jenkins to continue to root out other employees who may have undermined our city and terminate them swiftly without delay.
Interim Mayor Jenkins also says the firings will give the incoming mayor a chance to pick their own staff, but the special election is not happening until April 15th, and it could take up to a month to certify the results. And in the meantime, Jenkins and his remaining staff are supposed to submit a budget proposal by May 1st to try to close Oakland's $129 million budget deficit.
So I'm not sure, like whatever, you shouldn't have even acted like there was a reason. You're like, hey, we're getting rid of this her political staff, right? Like, don't get rid of the receptionist or whatever at the fucking, you know what I mean? But any sort of political allies of this person, because they fucking seems like they did a totally illegal whoopsie. I got raided by the FBI actually for a reason. I didn't know that there was a reason before, but there was in fact a reason. Yeah. So all the political people around that person, you got to get rid of them. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But I don't know if they mean that they're like, how far down are they going in the firing of this person's staff?
I mean, I don't know how it works in the Oakland mayor's office. Generally, in San Jose, mayor terms out, mayor moves on, new mayor comes in, and it is really the whole staff that turns out, because you want your people in there, and also the previous administration's folks are probably loyal to that mayor. There might be some carryover depending on how aligned the two mayors are, right? In this case, it would appear, and it would make sense, that they just want to clean house and get everyone out. And anyone who was working for Mayor Tao more than likely had to know this was coming eventually. They may not have expected it now. They may have expected it would come when the permanent mayor takes over. And I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. If the interim mayor was going to do this, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, but only because he needed staff to be able to manage the office, frankly. And so you mentioned like the executive assistant or the scheduler. That's generally the person that does stay on, right, from council member to council member, from mayor to mayor, because they just know their stuff so well. And training someone, teaching someone to do that job particularly is laborious. And frankly, no one wants to do it. There's professionals who just do that for a living, and that's just what they do, and they're really, really good at it. So those are the sort of career professionals you see, or those EAs in city government. But usually the policy staff and all the, you're right, political allies do get shit canned or turned out or changed out. But it's usually not like this, where they're getting just booted out the door. And it's not, and there's obviously special circumstances here politically. The city does not want to be affiliated with the former mayor anymore for a variety of reasons. So best to just clean house and move on.
And there may be some distinctions here too that I'm not thinking about. There may be people who are employed by the city because they're like building staff, right? And that's right. those people, we don't consider those to be the mayor's staff, right? Like the the executive admins and people like that. There's actually, it's like a pool basically of those staffers at City Hall. They don't just float around day to day, but they get assigned to offices, they get assigned to departments, or they choose to go work for departments, but they're pretty much on staff with the city, and they go where they're either told or they want to go at any given time. And they didn't fire everybody that works at the fucking building.
No, not at all. And this is just the mayor's office, remember? Like, that's just mayor's political staff. Like the administration department, parks and housing department and planning department, all those are permanent staff who are there in those departments that they really outlast the council members, right? The council members term out, but a lot of those folks are in city government for 20, 30 years sometimes. So they actually hold, depending on the city, they actually hold a lot more power sometimes than the elected leaders, because the elected leaders are in and out. Like we
call that the deep state.
Right. And so they will, if they don't like something, if they don't like a certain elected official or mayor, they will absolutely slow walk policies and projects to keep them from implementing things, because they don't like what they're, as career professionals in their field, they don't agree with the path forward, right? That these elected officials who are not trained in their field, right, of study. For example, I don't think there's one city council member who served on the planning commission or has any experience with land use prior to being on the council. And that's 90% of what a city council does. Anthony Tordios, by the way, chair of the planning commission. So, the career staffers tend to run the show in not just local government, but state and federal government too.
All right. Well, we're going to move on over to San Francisco. They had a party for this new park. I can't wait. I'm going to wait till they build it out a little bit, but I'm excited to go visit this new park. Me and you should go smoke a joint there sometime.
Absolutely. If it's still there, we're going to find out within this story that apparently it isn't over yet. And we'll find out more from our good friends at NBC Bay Area.
Celebrating a new coastal park in San Francisco. It's a voter-approved 2-mile stretch along the Upper Great Highway.
It comes after months of pushback and controversy that hasn't ended even with the official opening of Sunset Dunes. NBC Bay Area's Christy Smith has more.
It was a sight to see. Sunset Dunes, San Francisco's.
Oh, hell yeah.
Along the coast.
I voted for it. I'm a resident of San Francisco, and I'm going
to go smoke a joint right now.
Part of my life as well, and my experience here in San Francisco.
Melinda Noakes is impressed by the park that runs 2 miles between Lincoln and Sloat on this now closed portion of the Great Highway.
Amplified sound permits there?
Stands out as the new art. I like
party there.
The fact that the benches are made of reclaimed wood. It feels like there's a lot of intentionality in making this a beautiful space.
What do you think of the park?
We love it. It's one of the best things that's happened to San Francisco in years.
3, 2, 1. The community event to celebrate the opening.
So I know this has nothing to do with it, but the 3-2-1 there right there on the beach just reminded me of that famous video of them trying to blow up the whale. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yes.
You'll see public art. For kids, we've got a bike pump track and a skateboarding area. We have a nature-based playground at Riviera.
In November, San Francisco voters approved turning this stretch of the Great Highway into a car-free park, but not everyone is on board with the closure.
I think the road closure is terrible.
Some people...
Well, then get out of the fucking party.
There's a ton more traffic, 19th Avenue, so it's just going to impact the neighborhood. Unfortunately,
The people there look pissed off.
I mean, it's a nice thing, but, they could have done something else. It's still closed on Fridays and the weekends, and I thought that was a great compromise.
Some would like to see the road reopened. There is an effort underway to recall Supervisor Joel Engardio, who supported Prop K. And recently, Supervisor Connie Chan wrote in the Richmond Review, in the event of a citywide election this year, I will explore a ballot measure to keep Upper Great Highway open to vehicular traffic Mondays through Fridays and closed on the weekend for recreation. Chan says any ballot measure to overturn Prop K would need support from 3 additional supervisors. But for those who came out today to enjoy the park, being here was a sign of progress.
The accessibility, scooting, riding, running, it's good for meeting people. It's good socially. It's just an awesome way to bring the community together.
In San Francisco, Christy Smith, NBC Bay Area News.
Yo, the people, that's going to be there for like a couple weeks and it's going to be full. People are going to want to go visit it. They haven't even built it out yet. And everybody there was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to undo this.
No, I mean, they couldn't in the first place. I mean, in the first place, as they noted, it was the neighbors. Sure, the neighbors locally did not support the ballot measure, but there's also a lot of fear and misinformation that goes into that, and also just misunderstanding. Traffic. It's just this constant refrain. You're causing more traffic. You're putting more cars on my street. You hear about it with right sizing of roads, with these road diets, and all of this
bike lanes.
Right, and all this fear before anything's actually been installed and anything's actually even been attempted, everyone's just freaking out, right? We're losing parking spaces, or there's going to be more traffic, and it almost never results in what the worst fears of everyone, and in fact, it ends up being a benefit to everyone, and in fact could reduce traffic, frankly, and through traffic, people actually have somewhere else to go rather than up and down 19th looking for something to do in Golden Gate Park, right? They might come to the Dunes Park instead, or they might walk there, or might take God forbid, take the Muni down there. So and frankly, I want to hear what the young lady has to say. Spencer's daughter there, she's the one that this is built for. The kids are the ones that this is built for the future. So let's hear what they have to say, not what bro who's like, I'm just coming down to see what it's all about and just complain about shit. Like, love that attitude.
The homeboy went and got like a cupcake or something from one of the vendors.
Fucking hey, he got an artisanal cupcake, and he probably went and smoked a joint with that lady in the first clip too, or the first interview afterwards. He's like, well, I guess, and even he's like, well, I guess it's okay, it's fun, but so yeah, we'll see. Good luck to you with your follow-up ballot measure. Good luck getting other supervisors on board with it, especially, and it's just it's so rude. Frankly, her colleague is facing potential recall over this, and she's fanning the flames. Right, so just rude. I do hope that dude survives the recall, and I do hope that this ballot measure, this secondary measure, goes nowhere, and that everyone enjoys this wonderful public asset that they've created. It was a good idea. It seems like a good idea. It looks like a good idea, and yeah, producer Ava and I are going to go smoke a J on the reclaimed wood benches.
So I think the main reason it's not going to work is that it just passed, and it's going to be like a popular place for San Franciscans specifically to go. They're going to go, they're going to enjoy it, and it's going to be fresh in their mind that they went there and that it was cool. And so it's not that everybody's going to go, but enough people are going to go, and even the people that didn't go are going to like pretend they went, right?
Right. And if you think you can solve traffic on 19th Avenue in San Francisco, go for it, right? It's always slammed, it's always busy. There's nothing you can do about it. You don't want traffic in San Francisco, get out of your car. Like start taking the other modes of transit and stop trying to drive around, and maybe you wouldn't be so frustrated with the traffic of people coming through your town to do whatever.
Well, we're going to move up to San Mateo County on the other side of the bay for me. They're still trying to get rid of the sheriff, which I don't care about. At first, I was like, yeah, get rid of her. She seems terrible. Later, I was like, oh, no, she should keep her job. Now, don't care.
Yeah, and it's pretty much like no one cares anymore. Now that the votes happened, even the supervisors are kind of like, well, we'll figure it out. We'll take our time and figure out what we're going to do. So we're going to a little bit more about where things stand and how much longer Sheriff Corpus might have in office.
County supervisors are working on their next steps to potentially remove the sheriff from office. KTV's James Torres live in our newsroom here to explain what supervisors expect to happen today. James.
Well, county leaders will plan out a timeline on how to handle a vote to remove Sheriff Christina Corpus from office. But even with the planned schedule, supervisors say those dates, those times, and that whole timeline is subject to change.
A long-time conversation in San Mateo County continues. Supervisors working to determine what's next with Measure A, a voter-approved measure to give supervisors the power to remove Sheriff Christina Corpus from office.
And so the sheriff has due process. We're going to work through a process, be open-minded, be transparent, make sure as we move forward, we deliberate thoughtfully.
The sheriff facing allegations of abuse of power, corruption, and fostering a toxic workplace. She's denied any wrongdoing and has not been charged with any crimes. Her attorney says legal challenges are underway.
Measure A is designed for one purpose only, to remove Christina Corpus.
Like the plaques.
Sheriff.
Yeah, I was going to say, come on, dude. All right, we get it. You're a good lawyer.
What happened in 2014, bro?
That's not fair. That's singling out one person.
Supervisors are talking today to establish the next steps in executing Measure A. That includes deciding when the sheriff will have an opportunity to publicly defend herself to the board. Board President David Canepa says the public will need to offer patience.
The public thinks that
the public doesn't care.
Removal can happen within a week or 2 weeks. That's not the case. This is going to be something that will take a period of time. What that time is, I don't know.
But the sheriff's attorney says the board can't offer due process because some have already made public statements speaking against the sheriff. He says the entire process is already set up to be biased.
In our opinion, they were not fair, cannot be fair, and will not be fair.
Well, wait a minute.
That's not due process.
Yeah, they want to remove her from office. So yeah, they've said negative things about what the fuck. Yeah, that.
Well, it's they're kind of both skating around here. Like the supervisors are obviously worried about being sued and getting into legal trouble over this whole thing, even though the voters have ostensibly approved what they're trying to do. But her attorney is right in some cases. If they are saying they're going to give her due process, they're going to be transparent, they're going to have a fair and balanced process. They were just asking the voters to create the process by which they could determine whether or not they're going to remove the sheriff, right? This is not a process to remove her. This is a process to determine still if they're going to do that. So it's kind of like they're setting it up. The supervisors are setting this up like a trial where they will present their case. The public will present someone from the public or the sheriff's union will present their case. And then Sheriff Corpus will get a chance to present her case. But so in that scenario, her attorney is right. In fact, like the majority of I think all the supervisors have said, have expressed a bias in this situation already. So he's right. She's not going to, I mean, she never was going to get due process. This is all a sham. But he's right. And they may have standing after this is done, if she does get removed, to sue the county. We'll see how successful that might be. It looks like she's going to sue. I mean, she's got the top lawyer from the past 20 years here on her team. And with that hair, I mean, he's going for this. But anyway, we'll see what comes out of this. But I just love the fact that President Canepa and the board are saying, well, we're going to take our time. And the whole point of the bloody election was to let's go, instead of doing a recall, right? And putting that together, which would have taken some time. It was like, let's get this done. And now it's like they have the power and they're like, well, so it tells me that they are absolutely worried about what this attorney is saying and what's going to happen after if she does get removed.
My favorite was the guy that talked before him was like, the public they're not going to get this right away. And I'm like, dude, fucking the people, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah. No.
People move to San Mateo County because nothing happens there. That's why people move there.
It was a low turnout election, and people who did vote have moved on, and they figure the sheriff's already gone, and they've got too much.
They probably think they voted to get rid of the sheriff.
Right. And they're who knows? They're too busy having sushi or something. I don't know. But anyway, we can let the clip play out, but we'll find out what happens very soon, I'm sure.
Process. That's not equality, and that's not right.
it would take a 4/5 majority vote to oust the sheriff. If that happens, supervisors would then have to decide whether to appoint a new sheriff or hold a special election. But supervisors say it could be months before the process gets that far. Live in the newsroom, I'm James Torres, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah, I know. And we probably won't for a while. I just wanted to give a quick update there on that. We might not hear more about it for a few weeks, but we'd like to follow up here on Downballot and keep you appraised. Shall we move on to winners and losers?
Winners and losers, I think.
Yes, sir. Indeed. And as you know, usually there's no winners. We are going to have, I think, we might have some winners later on in the docket here, but for now, we're going to talk about a big nude lady that just came to San Francisco.
A statue of a naked woman is being unveiled as we speak in San Francisco, and it is certainly turning heads. Let's go to KTV reporter Henry Lee, who is live for us in the city tonight with the very latest. That's a big crowd behind you, Henry.
Yeah, a lot of people out here. She's standing tall and proud, towering over locals and tourists alike, a testament to what the artist tells me is female strength. She's a 45-foot-tall sculpture of a naked woman at Embarcadero Plaza in San Francisco. The artist, Marco Cochran of Petaluma, says the statue symbolizes feminine strength, presence, and liberation. 16 internal motors allow her chest to move, and at night she glows. The statue is made of 55,000 welds. It was originally supposed to be at Union Square, but that location was scrapped because the statue is too heavy for the square's tiles. Cochran built her on Treasure Island and used cranes to help lift her into place. The art's called Revolution and stands at the foot of Market Street across from the Ferry Building. In the hours before its official unveiling, we saw tourists, locals, and looky-loos all taking a look. We spoke to Cochran and some women at the plaza to get their reaction.
Just not doing anything, just being present, just breathing. And I think it's a really powerful thing for someone to be able to just be. It's possible for women.
That guy's a yoga instructor.
Sexy. We have a tendency to always sexualize them.
It's a press. It's beautiful. I feel like it's new. So I was walking by other day, and they were building, and I like it.
The statue and similar ones have appeared at Burning Man, the Las Vegas Strip, and in Petaluma.
I think look at the rest of art through time. I think if it is something that is worth documenting and something worth portraying in a way that you can't put into words, like the human form, that's why you do it.
Deep.
So here at the foot of Market Street, heads are craned skyward. Waymos are out here in force. A drone is overhead. These festivities will continue well into the night, and it will also include music from a woman who served as the model for this sculpture, which, by the way, will be here for at least the next 6 months.
Oh, it's not permanent?
KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Well, certainly a sight to see and bringing in lots of crowds to that area. Thank you, Henry.
Oh, I thought it was like a longer term, but I guess it's made out of, looks like it's made out of fucking mesh and shit, so it probably wouldn't stand the test of time anyway. It's not.
I mean, it's possible. We'll see. I'm not sure what exactly material it's made from. But yeah, Waymos and drones out in full force. People are out and experiencing San Francisco. So that's a winner, I guess. Interesting that they blame the tiles in Union Square and not the crime. That's a new one. For that being there.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big reason they didn't have it in Union Square is because Union Square is dying almost. Dead.
Yeah. There have been some. There were some detractors who have said that, well, this is getting in the way of our view of the Ferry Building, right? You put this big nude chick in front of the Ferry Building, so I can't see it anymore. And others who are just like, where did this come from? No one asked me who paid for this. And it's kind of unclear as to that anyway, if the artist got paid. But yeah, the yoga instructor talking about someone just standing there look at that dude, and he's
present,
right? And he's the artistic champion for women's empowerment, I guess. It does look. I have to say, I saw a video of the chest moving. It's very freaky deaky. It's a little disconcerting.
About why the motors it can't move its hand to put its hand out like this, or it's like
the boobs go up and down is pretty much what happens. So it's a little
they
bit like
put it in the fucking Castro.
Right.
People in the Castro would have been like, if you try to uninstall this, we will kill you.
Only in San Only in San Francisco. Only in San Francisco. I don't know this would happen in any other major city or be a thing. But anyway, like I said, the winners are obviously the artist who gets all sorts of prominence out of this, and I guess women. But we'll see how long it lasts before some kid climbs up and falls off of it, or someone tries to hump it.
I think it's going to get vandalized for sure.
Sure, it more than likely, but maybe it's got that anti-graffiti stuff on it. And I'm a big fan of public art, by the way. I'm not at all. Anyone who knows me knows I'm all for it.
Oh no, the people that are like, it blocks my view of the ferry building. I'm like, you could go to the other side of the statue and look at the ferry building.
Correct, right? And I do agree. Anything that draws people out and draws attention to arts, culture, community, life, and reflections of it, I think is a good thing. Just very interesting, very interesting development here. And I wonder if the model who was singing, kind of felt like everyone was checking her out or picturing her naked. But no, you don't have to picture me naked. That's me naked.
And I mean, it's not like pornographic, right? It's the outline, more or less a statue of the outline of her.
It's the human. It's the human form, like the gal said. It's one of those things you can't necessarily put to words. So why not put it into imagery? So hey, winners and losers. Sometimes there are winners.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I'd go smoke a joint by the statue too.
So we're going to the Dunes Park, and then we're going to the statue, and then we got to find a third, some sort of third spot.
We're going to go to the Mission for fucking tacos.
There you go, and smoke a joint. After the tacos,
but before and after.
Before the tacos. All right. All right. Well, another story where there's winners and losers down here in San Jose again. As we've covered before, Mayor Ed 209 is trying to do something about all the icky, unhoused people that are in the way of his voters and campaign donors and business owners. So he's given them an opportunity to go over here and put up your tent over here as opposed to over here. And we're going to learn more about it from NBC.
Another solution to one of the Bay Area's oldest problems. Today, San Jose leaders broke ground on what's known as a safe sleeping site for the unhoused. NBC Bay Area's Marianne Favreau joins us from San Jose with more of the details on how this is going to work. Marianne.
Once the site is completed, 56 tents will be offered to the unhoused here.
Oh my God.
In San Jose.
Hold on, we got to see that again.
Oh my God.
We got to see this again. This is the wackest thing I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
Word to Matt Mahan's opponent in the mayor's race. Just put this on loop on a website somewhere.
A GIF of this.
Once the site is completed, 56 tents will be offered to the unhoused here. A milestone moment in San Jose as Mayor Matt Mahan joined city leaders in breaking ground on the city's first safe sleeping site. It's being built on East Taylor Street next to Watson Park, and those who move in will stay in tents like this one and receive services.
Taylor Street will serve as a navigation center, a first stop for those currently living on our streets and in our creeks on their journey to a better life. And their stay here will be short. Our goal is to stabilize folks, assess their needs, connect them to case management, and help them move on to a longer-term setting within 30 days.
The site will offer 3 meals a day, case managers, and sanitation. It will also be fenced in and include 24/7 security. Neighbor Jeff Hare welcomes the site.
What we're looking for is not just the safety of the individuals who will be residing here while they transition hopefully into more permanent housing, but also safety for the residents who want to use the parks. For too long, we have seen the parks taken over.
He also hopes it will encourage the unhoused to stop sleeping near the creek, which many believe is leading to environmental damage. But Sean Cartwright with the Unhoused Response Group is skeptical the site will actually help those who are struggling to get off the streets.
Telling people that you need to leave your tent so you can move into their tent.
Yo, homegirl, I love you.
Sean's pretty
get out of your tent. We bought a bunch on Amazon. They're black and white and red, like a newspaper.
Ridiculous.
Right?
People don't want to live in tents.
The safe sleeping site is modeled after a larger site in San Diego. The San Jose project will cost $1.3 million to build and $2 million a year to operate. This site is expected to be completed in June. In San Jose, Marianne Favreau, NBC Bay Area News.
So I'm trying to envision, so it's Taylor and 280, so it's not that far east, right? Because it's sort of in the downtown, like sort of near downtown, right?
It's actually more Taylor in 101. If you're driving up 101, you see those soccer fields off to the left there after as you're getting a little bit north of downtown. That's where it's at. It's actually ironically, there was a council member at the city for a long time who was advocating for sanctioned encampments, which would be more like what Sean was talking about. Like people are pitching up tents, you let them pitch up tents. He had been advocating for this for a long time, and of course got no support for it from council member Ed 209 when he was a council member or any of his colleagues. And now, of course, this is actually getting constructed and built right down the street from his house, if you'll believe that. So irony of ironies. It will be fenced in. It will be have tight security. So basically, you're creating a concentration camp. I've seen the facilities in other cities, San Diego and elsewhere. They are not concentration camp-esque. They're just letting people. It's a space where people can come and pitch their own tent and just have a safe place to do it, where they're not going to get swept by police or by Parks and Rec or Public Works, and they just have a place that they can do that and call home while they're suffering through experiencing homelessness. So Sean's dead right. I'm glad she was there behind the mayor with her sign and just keeping them on notice, even if it's just her, even if it's just one person, to hold these folks accountable and to let them know that we're listening, we're watching, and they're not, we know what's going on, and we don't think this is going to work. And we wish it did, but we don't think it's going to work. And we're going to be ready when it doesn't work to call them on it. And I really hope, God, of all the projects, right? Everyone loves a good groundbreaking in government, right? Everyone does. You're opening a new park. You're building a new housing, project. You're breaking ground in a new mall or whatever, right? Or a new school. Everyone loves to get the fancy shovel the dirt, and then you put the shovel on the wall in your office.
We just saw them do, though.
Not at this project, or
anywhere. That looked lame. What they did.
Yeah, well, that was a pretty awful shovel dirt chuck.
Called a shovel dance.
Yeah, I've been to a number of them. I've been to a number of them, and you can. There's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it, and they were all just so awkward. They looked like they'd never carried a shovel in their life, right? Like, I'm not surprised with the mayor, but it looked like none of those folks had ever held a shovel in their life. So that was pretty sad. I agree. A GIF of that will be very, very good fodder for the next opponent when the mayor runs for governor. But it's also just tacky. You're addressing a crisis, and you're addressing the most basic need of folks. Just do it. Don't hold a press conference. Don't cut ribbons or have a fancy commemorative shovel. Just do it. Just allow people to be, like the artist was saying. Like, let them be, right? That's the best thing we can do. Granted, this is going to, they're going to get 3 squares a day. They're going to have access to showers and other resources and case management, but they can get that if we just went to where they are now, instead of forcing them into this space with these, like these Costco tents that they're asking them to live in.
My guess, and I'm it's not likely true, but not impossible. One of Mayor Matt's fucking friends had a tent company that maybe didn't take off.
Well, I remember Ed 210 getting his nonprofit to throw down with the city, right, on big programs and projects. So yeah, no, that's not out of the ordinary.
I'm just telling you.
Not out of the question.
This new breed of like white savior sort of mayors, they sure seem to be doing the self-dealing. So.
Oh, 100%. And it's very reflective of what's happening on the national scene. That's why we had public commenters recently at City Council telling the mayor, why don't you go work in the Trump administration? Because it tracks. If the shoe fits, a lot of these policies are very similar. So again, I want these things to succeed. We all want more folks off the streets. All of us do. I don't we don't believe, the advocates don't believe that this is going to help anything, that the mayor's policies are going to help of criminalizing unhoused people, because that's the real big thing. If someone doesn't want to come here, if they tell them they don't want to, I don't want to go to that place, I don't want to be in a concentration camp, then we can suddenly arrest them. Like the police can arrest them for refusing it. That's not going to fly.
But what happens when that place fills up? Because there's like fucking 40 something tents.
56, yeah. Oh yeah, 56, and the mayor's very big on touting all of the all the beds, quote unquote, that they're bringing online. But the advocates are quick to point out that we're not talking mostly about beds. We're talking about cots in congregate shelters, or we're talking about something like this. It's not actually housing options for people that give them a space where they can really put themselves back together. So again, I wish them all the best. I really hope that something works out, but it does not appear to me that this is going to be successful. And when it doesn't, it's going to blow up in the mayor's face, and we're going to have just as much of a problem as we had before.
Yep. Well, I'm not rooting for Mayor Ed 209, but I'm rooting for anybody who takes them up on the offer, and I hope they don't get shot by the Pinkertons there. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Anyway, let's see. Ooh. So I'm just calling up, just on the side note, really quickly here. I'm calling up, we're going to go back to Oakland. I'm calling up the Oakland results, and wouldn't you know it? It looks, well, in the first count, it looks like Lauren Taylor's actually in first place. What do you know? Look at this, 48.9 to 44.8. I have no idea how ranked choice voting works, so we'll find out how it works. But wow, it looks like we could be headed for an upset here, possibly.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe. We'll see how many second place votes Barbara Lee got. Anyway, let's move on to Oakland Unified School District, where there are some losers, and but we're not really sure. So we're going to find out more from ABC7 about how not sure we are.
At Wednesday night's Oakland Unified School Board meeting, speakers raised concerns that Superintendent Kyla Johnson-Tramel's contract was going to be terminated.
We ask that you stand with our children, you stand with the superintendent, and you stand by your communities that you serve.
An agenda item was listed for closed session regarding employment, but when the board returned, there was no action taken. So my question is her current contract still in place?
Yes, her current contract is in place.
Okay.
Yeah, there's been no official change of her current contract.
Jennifer Brohard is president of the Oakland School Board. She says if there was a vote, they would have to announce it after closed session.
It's a personnel matter, and when there's an actual vote taken on that matter, then that matter will be reported out in closed session.
But OUSD board member and former board president Mike Hutchinson was in the closed door session. He says that's not what happened.
There was action taken. And unfortunately, 4 directors, a majority of the board, last night voted to start an immediate search for a new superintendent to begin July 1st and to begin negotiations for a payout for our current superintendent's contract, effectively forcing her out at the end of June.
Superintendent Johnson-Tramel's current contract goes through 2027. In it, she's already set to transition out of the day-to-day responsibilities beginning next school year. Hutchinson says he knows discussing this may be a violation of the Brown Act, which is a misdemeanor. But he says he's putting the community first.
This is a huge crisis now in OUSD. Everyone needs to know what's happening. And most importantly, it's going to totally destabilize our district and really jeopardize all of the progress that we've made.
Still, board president Brohard says the contract is in place. Is there discussion around the superintendent's contract?
Yes.
Can't talk about that. I think there's always discussion around in the board and the superintendent's relationship. Anytime we could be in the middle of discussing anything. Follow through on that discussion.
All right.
Hutchinson is encouraging parents to attend the next.
She's like, have you ever smoked a joint in a dorm room? We could be talking about fucking anything, all right?
In Oakland, Ansar Hassan, ABC7 News.
So
yeah.
This would be my job, right? To fucking try to figure out, is there something going on here? But I haven't been here long enough to have my ear to the ground in that kind of way,
Yeah, no, and I definitely don't know what's happening there. And it's the point of the matter is that something is happening. They are obviously considering, what to do about their superintendent. I don't know how much that has to do with, the nice white lady and the fact that the superintendent is a black woman. It seems to be a trend these days that black women in power are getting attacked for just being.
Well, good luck with that in the town.
Right, exactly.
That doesn't. Again, the town is a very different place than San Francisco.
100%, and probably why they are so they're so hush hush about what they're talking about, and not willing to say what they're doing. When it comes down to it, school boards have very little power when it comes to actual policy making and how money is allocated and other and funding is allocated and other things, and employee practices. What they do have control over is the superintendent, is the CEO. Just like a business, they can hire and fire the CEO, the superintendent.
The board, essentially, they're like
correct.
The board of the
board of trustees, right? Right. So that's the only power they have, really, is to hire and fire that person. So if they don't agree with the agenda, then that's really their only recourse, is to find a way out. But they have a contract, so it's not as though the board votes every year and says, we like you, you stay. No, they have a contract, so you have to break their contract if you want to get rid of them. And that might be what they're doing here, but you have to have cause. So there's a reason why they're not talking about it, because it is an HR issue. It is it gets done in closed session, but it's so obvious that they're having this conversation, that they're moving this way. They just can't. They don't want to talk about it. They won't talk about it, and they don't want to get themselves in trouble either, because they're putting. If you do that, if you breach a contract and there's not enough cause, then you're putting yourself in a really precarious legal position. So. Again, we'll be tracking it, see if there's ever some clarity that comes out of that story, but there's definitely no clarity from the story we just saw.
And they had mentioned the Brown Act. I've been sort of like slightly, not super aggressively, but I've been looking for an interview guest, someone who could like explain the Brown Act and its ramifications, because they talk about it all the time in Shasta and other meetings that we watch of like local government here in California. So it comes up kind of a lot on public comment. So I'm kind of looking for somebody who's maybe an expert or has like, a body of knowledge around that to explain the Brown Act.
Yeah, let's table that for another down ballot. I know we're pushing time tonight. So
no. I was just saying I'm looking to interview somebody. I'm not looking to interview somebody this second.
Oh yeah, no, I can give you the Cliff's Notes on the Brown Act for sure.
Okay.
At least on the way they're talking about it.
Cool.
Would you like that right now?
No.
Okay, we'll do that another time then.
We're going to do it as a down ballot extra.
There we go, and we can have we can bring in an expert in the field to talk.
That's what I meant.
So
yeah. If you want to be there for the interview, by all means.
Yeah, but it's not just my dumbass blathering about what I don't know. Yeah. So there's a lot of facets to the Brown Act. Has a lot of facets to it, and not just about how public bodies engage on issues. So, well,
up next, I had strangely enough, I had a meeting regarding this with some people I've been working with. Just not about the nightclub, but about the other spot. We were just kind of shooting around some ideas about this. So,
all right.
So good on them. My friends are doing really well at one of their spots, and then they're doing so poorly at their nightclub that they hired me to help promote it. So
solid. Well, hey, this is a personal story. Then we're going to find out more about one of our favorite Assembly members' efforts to extend last call in California.
Last call could soon be extended to 4 a.m. on weekends and holidays in specific areas across California.
Yeah, San Francisco Assemblyman Matt Haney has just introduced a bill proposing this plan to help boost businesses post-pandemic.
ABC 7 News reporter Lena Howland joins us live now from downtown San Jose with a
where she is wasted.
Good morning, Lisa.
At 4 a.m.
Good morning, Gloria. The goal behind this piece of legislation.
I know where she is. She's the only place in
is.
San Jose that anything's going to stay open until 4 a.m. She's in the neighborhood.
Hell yeah. Post Street, baby.
To attract tourism and more hospitality businesses. So, and that's something leaders...
hotel bars would do well on this too, actually.
Be a great benefit to places like Post Street, which just became car-free earlier this year. In a city that already has turned San Pedro Square and most recently part of Post Street car-free permanently, the idea of extending last call at bars until 4 a.m. on weekends and holidays means an even bigger boost to business in San Jose.
What this could do is it could absolutely extend these small business owners' abilities to keep the party going a little longer and make sure they maximize the revenue that they need right now.
She's like, it allows everybody to get low and raise the roof and
Shimolewski is a spokesperson for Visit San Jose, which is a nonprofit economic development organization. She says the city wants to continue to build off the momentum they've worked hard to achieve in the post-pandemic era, with tourism now contributing about $7 million a day to local small businesses in San Jose.
So we want to keep that going. San Jose is really helping recovery of the entire Bay Area because of our restaurants, our theaters, our sports teams, and our dining. So we want to see that continue.
Does she think she's talking about Campbell?
Francisco Assembly member Matt Haney.
Hey, she's a spokesperson.
This piece of legislation on Monday in Los Angeles as the city prepares to host the 2028 Summer Olympics.
City after city.
Oh, that's going to be a shit show.
Downtowns that are still experiencing some of the country's highest vacancy rates in offices, vacancy rates in retail. We need people in our downtowns. We need
getting wasted
here, not just during the day, but at night.
San Francisco.
I like how they said we need people in our downtowns, and then they clearly showed us the Mission in San Francisco, which is not downtown.
And founder of the California
stock footage
Association, Ben Blyman, has seen firsthand the aftermath of COVID, and he believes reimagining nightlife is something the state can do right now to breathe new life and new money into cities across the state.
I believe that we have to re-envision our downtowns. I think a lot of people do. And I also believe that nightlife isn't going to be just a part of that re-envisioning. I believe nightlife is going to be the catalyst. It's going to be the main engine for bringing activity and business and life and culture back to our downtowns.
And this bill would apply to designated hospitality areas around the state. Lawmakers are hoping to get this passed before major events come to California, including the Olympics, but also the World Cup and the Super Bowl right here in the Bay Area.
Not great.
San Jose, Lena Howland, ABC 7 News.
So Post Street will stay crack until 4 a.m. on Friday, Saturday night, for sure. San Pedro Square, even though it's like right around the way, I don't think it's going to do as well at San Pedro Square. Because there aren't like as many bars. It's a lot of restaurants.
Depends on the time of year and what's going on, and if the Sharkies are around. But I agree with you. Post Street is definitely the spot. Maybe Sofa, but again, no bars, no restaurants.
No,
so
that fucking Sofa sucks.
Yeah, as far as that goes. So anyway,
there's like that. There's like a there's like a fucking that little like Sofa Market with all those little like places to eat. That's the shit. Now that bar in the back, even though they named it after an Ayn Rand book, that bar in the back is on point.
The Fountainhead, it's very very solid spot. But that's pretty much it. If you want like food and drink options in the Sofa and great art options, but who wants to look at art when you're not drinking and eating some grub too? Like it's just it all goes together.
And it's weird because we're talking about downtown as if it's like a bunch of little neighborhoods and not a cohesive downtown. And that's because that's what it is, right? You start out at San Pedro Square, maybe you walk, it's only 5-10 minutes walk to Post. You walk to Post Street, and then maybe if something's going on like a street party or whatever, you walk 15 minutes to Sofa. But between those areas, there's fucking nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. A bunch of closed nail salons, bunch of fucking banks. Like they've nothing.
So he's talking a lot about wayfinding, right? And they really only have to do wayfinding because people don't know how to get from one party spot to the other, and it's not all stitched together and not all cohesive at all. That's exactly the problem. So instead of trying to create more cohesion, they're just trying to point people in the right direction. And Laura, to her credit, like she's doing her best to sell San Jose and hype it because that's her job. Frankly, she gets paid a lot of money to do that. So good on her for trying her best. But it's a difficult thing to sell. But we'll see. Who knows if this can spur a little bit less of a suburban attitude in San Jose and other locales, all for it. And interesting to see Assemblymember Haney, who's from San Francisco, in LA announcing this. Potentially, he's looking at a more high-profile office one day. Wouldn't put it past him. He's doing a lot of interesting things, including the cannabis cafes and other things. So, hey, I'm all for cannabis cafe governor. But we'll see.
And the cannabis cafe and the neighborhood stay open till 4 a.m. That's the question.
That's a very good question. Or the green was it purple lotus? Purple lotus. We shall find out. Well, this could be a related story, and maybe this is the hopping spot over by the Dunes Park that stays open till 4 a.m. if they're allowed to serve alcohol till then. But there's a remodel complete at the Pacifica location of one of our most popular drinking venues, apparently.
Taco Bell.
It's one of my favorite places to get fast food, tacos, and
Oh, you should have said one of my favorite places to get fucking white girl wasted.
View of the beach. What more could you want? Yes, we're talking about the Taco Bell Cantina in Pacifica. It has reopened. The fast food joint shut down in January for remodeling. Diners can now expect a refreshed interior and a bar setting. There is also new furniture for the outdoor seating areas and heaters to keep people warm. The restaurant's manager says the menu is the same, but there are 3 new flavors of the company's Twisted Freeze boozy slushies.
Do not drink that. You will throw up.
We heard the one and only Taco Bell.
She had one.
So we had to make a trip here. We don't normally eat at Taco Bell, but because it was on the beach, it's the place to come.
The wooden structure home.
You're doing a little day drinking. Good for you.
Cantina dates back to 1960 and was originally an A&W restaurant. My only advice when you go there is don't get the nachos. I love the nachos.
But so do the seagulls.
No, not only that, the wind. So then the
Okay.
sand kind of gets on your nachos. But I love that place. Just order like tacos and burritos.
Beautiful Taco Bell. I think we can say that without question.
For sure. It's so much fun to go there. Okay.
I thought
Janelle
she was
Wang
going to
is-
say, don't get the slushy. It'll make you throw up.
Yeah, Janelle Wang is totally getting day drunk at the Taco Bell Cantina. White girl wasted for sure. Oh my
That
god.
gal, I don't think she was like tanked, but she had a few of those
Oh,
vomit-inducing fucking slushies.
Absolutely, before noon too. They were, they're traveling from Virginia. They don't get Taco Bell Cantina in Virginia, right? They have a
You know
Waffle
what?
House.
If they're on vacation, fuck it. You should be. You should have been.
Live.
You should have been incapable of taking that interview.
Right, get some sand in your nachos for God's sake. It's you're living, live your life. So yeah, good on them. Good on Taco Bell. Love more places where I can get shitty nachos and shitty swirls and get white girl wasted on a weekday. Well, moving on to getting your shit together. I just love it when we can get literal with get your shit together. And this is a story we have covered extensively on Downballot, and it's taking twists and turns and we could not have expected. So we're going to learn more about the long ordeal with public toilets in San Francisco.
San Francisco's Public Works Department is considering cutting its popular porta potty program, and the fear is it could lead people to turn to the streets instead. The city's Pit Stop program, which provides 30 staffed public toilets, could be cut by half to meet the mayor's budget requests. These toilets are heavily used, with more than 750,000 visits in the last 9 months alone. While the city analyzes data to
I used one. It was totally clean.
concerns are raising.
When I was in the TL and I was looking at apartments and stuff. I used one of those. It was fucking fine. There was 2 people in front of me in line, and I just waited, and then I used it and fucking just went about my business. It was fantastic.
Spray a little, Febreze in there, like the lady was doing. Fine.
Waste on city streets.
Yeah.
The IRS has agreed to allow immigration officials.
Oh, it's done. Okay. Sorry.
It's a multi-clip. But what are they doing? Like, the thing everybody fucking talks shit on San Francisco for is that there's poop in front of the cupcake shop. Like, what the fuck?
Literally, and man, I really needed that stock footage of the guy actually cleaning poop with the water gun. That was great. It's like a water pick.
They've been running that clip since before we started Downballot.
Right, oversized water pick. Getting poop out of the crevices of the sidewalk in front of the artisanal cupcake shop. Yeah, I don't understand. The mayor's gonna have to explain why this is something that's on the chopping block, and not some other program that actually doesn't help people. This is incredibly relieving to have this program in place, right? If you want to pun.
Right, it's not just for if you're just walking down the street and you got to go to the bathroom and you see one of these things, you're going to use it.
I've used the one in downtown. There's one of these in downtown San Jose that I've marketed in Santa Clara. I have used myself because I needed to go. You got to go. And to assume that it's the unhoused that are all the people pooping on the street or pissing on the street, that is absolutely, we've seen it incorrect, right? We've seen it from the park, remember, where they had the bathroom that they installed on the second tier, but the guys playing chess down in the first tier of the park aren't going to walk up the steps, so they go in the pond, right? Like, absolutely housed people are pooping in front of the cupcake shop as much as the unhoused. So it's ridiculous to think that it's for everyone. It's for the public, and people got to poop, people got to piss. You got to cut somewhere else. Figure out another way.
So here's a good story. I know how to solve the homeless problem. We're going to solve the homeless problem with the and another thing story.
Exactly. I think if we just buy every unhoused person a lotto ticket, there's so many unhoused people, one of them is going to strike gold, and looks like someone did, and good on them.
Chatting this morning from living on the street to a 7-figure payday before taxes, an incredible win for a homeless man in San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, he just won $1 million. Yeah, $1 million. That man purchased a scratch-off ticket from a liquor store. Our affiliate spoke with the manager who was there for that winning moment. We had to confirm that the man, that he actually won the big prize. Well, what's more, he actually wanted to be sure that the lucky individual got his money.
I drove him to Fresno, I think the next day or Wednesday. So, because he's like, he want to send it in the mail. I told him, that's $1 million ticket. No, I will drive you.
Fucking cool.
There are steps that are taken before he can cash in that prize. The organization says that there is a vetting process, which takes a few weeks to a couple of months. The winner would not go on camera, but told our affiliate that he plans to make a down payment on a home, get a car, and the rest in the bank.
Ooh.
And that.
Oh, I don't know if it's $1
practical.
million. If you take the lump sum, that's less than $1 million. Then Uncle Sam takes. I don't know. I hope I'm rooting for this person.
Yeah, well, it depends where they get the down payment. They make the down payment, right? If it's in like, Folsom or Paso Robles, maybe, but not in. You're not getting a down payment in San Jose for
or even
the kind of money
or even
you're getting
slow.
online.
Not even San Luis Obispo either.
Right, and not certainly not having money to left over to buy a car. So, yeah, I would recommend taking the slow flow, invest, and get yourself a nice rental property for now, and invest some of that money, and hopefully you get into a CD or something more solid than the stock market. Grow your nest egg, sir. I'm not a financial planner, but I would absolutely play the slow game here. And it will benefit you in the long run. But hey, good on them, and good on the shop owner for wanting to drive the guy. Full disclosure, the shops get, I forget what it is, a percentage, or they get a reward themselves for selling the winning tickets. In some cases with the big lotto jackpots, it's like they get $1 million, the shop owner. So I don't imagine that's kind
of cool, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how much they're going to get in this case. I think it is a percentage of some sort. But yeah, that is a benefit for him to drive the guy to deliver the ticket. But yeah, fuck, I wouldn't put that shit in the mail either. Not these days, especially with Donald Trump coming after the Postal Service.
Yeah, no shit. Well, that's the show. You wanna read the show out for us?
I will. I'm glad we made it out of here in a reasonable amount of time. Well, thank you, listener and viewer, for joining us as usual. We do this almost every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on Echoplex Media. You can check us out in all the channels. Just go to our website, echoplexmedia.com, to find out where you can watch and download this wonderful show that is the 9th best local news show in California. I do want to give a shout out to a public comment, which is coming up with producer Dave. Please stick around for that. If you are vaccinated, good on you. If you wear a mask, even better. Pants are totally optional. We hope you have a great week, and we'll be back to tell you all the results of the Oakland mayoral election next week on Downballot. We're going to leave you with some audible smoke. Peace out.
Time to get the party started. Pick up my phone just to check and see who's calling. Dress up real nice for the ladies at the bar, and I'm driving in my car just to get to where they are. Here at the local scene is where I plant my feet. It's where I smoke my cigarette and I hold my drink. I look at all my friends, they're all blazing greens. Here at the front of the stage, waiting for MTV. Where are those guys who's standing next to me with a pipe in his hand, ready to blaze for me? About 5 minutes later, we're all singing Queen. I get the fuck up on stage, man, rock the scene, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. I turn and head back to the bar for a refill, man, because you know where we are. We're headed out to the car. to smoke another one and another one. Now just when the magic starts kicking in, I hear relapse playing, you know it's time to head in. Alright everybody, now it's time to grab a new drink, spark it if you got it, and then pass it to me. Yeah, we do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. Last up on the bill for the show tonight is Down and Dirty at 5, so we're headed outside to spark up another joint. Now who's got my lighter? Stoner E, of course. Shouldn't you be inside?
I'm all up in this bitch, being who I gotta be. I'm fucked up like the U.S. economy. The truth is that I don't think logically. Stoner E take you on a psychedelic odyssey. Now inside motherfuckers is rocking me, and outside shit we smoke a lot of broccoli. Rocky the roller, yo, that sexy girl be jocking me. Ain't too drunk to fuck, but I'll probably do it sloppily.
We do what we wanna do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy the band, enjoy the band. We do what we wanna do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band.
Molly say that he like jamming, and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Well, Bob Marley said that he like jamming, and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yeah,
we do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we wanna do, what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. We do what we want, what we wanna do, what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy